Mike Rogers, former NSA director, and who may be a white knight in the Spygate scandal, is talking. But what exactly is Mike Rogers saying to the investigators? Let me just put up the Epoch Times article that describes this. Remember, unanswered questions about Spygate. Hopefully, we'll get to the bottom of the next few months. Jeff Carlson, who I have great respect for, has a piece I will have in the show notes today. It's from October of 2018, but again, it's worth your time. Again, in context of Mike Rogers, NSA director, former NSA director, now talking. Will he answer this question? Headline: NSA director Mike Rogers disclosed the FISA abuse days after the Carter Page warrant was issued. Folks, this is a great, great piece worth your rereading today, and why. There's a big takeaway from this. Mike Rogers, who was the former head of the National Security Administration, the NSA, the big spy apparatus we have. Rogers, conveniently days after the first warrant in October to spy on Carter Page, former Trump campaign team member, which I believe was a proxy attempt to try and spy on the Trump campaign. Rogers, seemingly out of the blue, airs a warning about the abuses of the FISA Act and people spying in the government on others. But there's this one thing that jumps out in the FISA report issued afterwards. Put up the screenshot number 1 from the Carlson piece. This is fascinating. I'm going to quote from it. On March 9, 2016, the Department of Justice oversight personnel learned, listen to this, that the FBI had been employing outside contractors who had access to raw Section 702 FISA data and retained that access after their work for the FBI was completed. The information was disclosed on a FISA court ruling. You can look it up yourself, folks. Just Google FISA court ruling, April 26, 2017. It was declassified by the DNI National Intelligence, Director of National Intelligence, Dan Coates. What's the takeaway there? In light of yesterday's story, explosive story, which we addressed in light of what's going on about the CIA potentially moving information from the NSA's cloud into the CIA cloud where they could obfuscate the audit trail. If you missed yesterday's show, you missed it did crazy numbers for a Thursday during Christmas week, and I think that was why. Yeah. Watch yesterday's show. I can't relitigate it, but it's about the CIA wiping clean their footprints on how they spied on people and how they did it, taking information from the NSA cloud. But now, why am I bringing this up today? We know Rogers is talking. Now we know that apparently there were abuses of the NSA database too by FBI contractors. So what's the unanswered question, you ask? Well, put up screenshot number 2 and we'll hit it. Quote from the Epoch Times piece. This wasn't an isolated incident, talking about access in the NSA database. And the improper access granted to outside contractors, listen, here's a quote, seems to have been the result of deliberate decision-making. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, it was done on purpose. This was not a mistake. The FISA court noted, quote, the FBI's apparent disregard of minimization rules and questioned whether the FBI may be engaging in similar disclosures of raw Section 702 information that may not have been reported. Folks, the unanswered question here is, who the hell were those contractors? So now we know, if you listen to yesterday's show, or we highly suspect, that Brennan may be in trouble because the information may have been relocated from the NSA database to the CIA cloud, where the audit trail could have been wiped clean or made more opaque so that no one would see the footprints of what they did when they spied on you using the metadata. A government database. It's a fancy way of saying that. But now we know, and we have known for a long time, according to the FISA court's own internal analysis here in that April 26 report, that the NSA's database too was being queried by contractors the FBI was paying that were deliberately abusing the database to search for things and people and queries. Who were those contractors that the FBI was working with? I've got a lead on this. I'm hesitant to put out, but I'll give you a hint because I'm not sure, and I'm looking for triple backup on it, unlike Roswell Rachel Maddow, who would just say random thoughts that came into her head and express them as facts. I'm afraid that they're going to use this contractor label. In other words, the contractors did it as an out. Joe, follow me here.
Yeah.
In other words, if let's say those contractors had something to do with foreign intelligence services, and the foreign intelligence services are going to be given an out for diplomacy purposes, and are going to be disguised as contractors. When Durham's report comes out, I want to be sure that the American people know the truth. If foreign countries were spying on Trump's campaign at the behest of the Obama administration, I want to know about it. And what I'm afraid of is that contractor label is going to be slapped on entities all over the place to disguise who they really were, so that the American people don't know the full truth. And the reason given is going to be, well, for diplomatic reasons, we don't want to embarrass these foreign countries. No, we need to embarrass them. They embarrassed us.
Identity laundering, more or less. Yeah, okay, gotcha. Yeah, okay.
You're good. You're good. Identity laundering. Very well said. I'm going to steal that.
Yeah.
I'm going to pretend Joe didn't say it. It's like identity laundering. Come on.
Cool.
I'm kidding, of course. That's a brilliant line. Identity laundering for the same reason the information was laundered under Steele. They laundered Steele's information to pretend it came from Russian sources so it looked real. It was all BS, folks. The identity laundering and the use of the term contractor may be used to clean the identity of where it originated. So for diplomatic reasons, we don't expose the identities of foreign countries that may have been spying on our own election for the Obama administration. Huge unanswered question. Now, some of those contractors, I'm sure, were legit contractors too. Legit meaning that they were contractors. I'm just afraid the label is going to be used for other things too. But who were those contractors? Again, I have some ideas on that. God forbid one of those contractors, by the way, was Fusion or CrowdStrike. Imagine if that came up. The CrowdStrike. Can you imagine that if that came out? Ooh, that would be ugly.
You just heard the Dan Bongino Show. You can also get Dan's podcasts on iTunes or SoundCloud. And follow Dan on Twitter 24/7 @DBongino.